speaking in Davos at the World Economic Forum, Howard Lutnick, the US Secretary of Commerce, has said decades of policies centered on offshoring, export-led growth and cheap global labor have in fact hollowed out American industry and disadvantaged American workers. Major General Brajesh Kumar, preceding Donald Trump's speech, Howard Lutnick, of course, speaking out as well. He's the US Secretary of Commerce. He's, of course, talked about decades of policies, how they've disadvantaged US workers, all that's been, of course, wrong with US policy making pre-Trump, delivering quite a blunt message too.
See, Uday, let's be very clear. There's no benevolence and there are no free lunches in this world today. The assertive America, under Donald Trump, is very clear on this aspect. Why should it be that if America funds 60% of the UN budget and all these spokesmen of various countries come to UN and abuse America? This I gave just a little example. So there are no largesse to be had, and it's becoming a real politic. We always thought that America was a power which is not different. It got the best of the world, be it talent, be it resources, be it technology. Talked about free world where talent flourished and wherein America enriched itself tremendously. Whether it is the Indian citizens, Indian students who went there, or the Chinese students who went there, or the large plethora of Jews who migrated to the US, or the Europeans and what have you. But that is come to a change now. America says, what do I get? So it's real politics of a different kind, which the world is not witness to. And this geopolitical reset, things are going to change. And most of us, rather all of us, will feel the effect of this American policy. Whether you are a European or a Russian or a Chinese or an Indian or an American or a South American or an African. That is because the power of the United States of America, both in terms of military power, technology, and economic power. What we see today is a hegemon US under Donald Trump.
Right.
And with the Commerce Secretary you talked about, who was there in Davos, it's all real politics.
Absolutely. More breaking news meanwhile coming in. Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson, while speaking on the sidelines of Davos, has said Europeans are willing to increase security in Greenland but would not accept to be blackmailed. Kristersson further stating he would not speculate as to whether NATO has shattered beyond repair after Trump's threats to take over Greenland. The country had joined NATO in 2024. So Sweden's Prime Minister also speaking now, saying Europe could perhaps increase security in Greenland. They will not be blackmailed. Karori Singh.
Other Europeans could anticipate even in March last year as well. They have developed a white paper about the European security, and they thought we cannot rely on United States for a longer period. So they have started their working on the European security outside the US domination. So it's not unusual now what the Europeans are facing. The biggest problem is NATO is the organization of as a Cold War product. And when the Cold War ended, it lost its relevance. But still they are dragging on. So there is no need to have a NATO, and that is why there is a bickering in the NATO. So the Europeans are well aware about that. So they are not relying on United States. The problem with the Europeans is that Trump's attitude increasing tariff, and that is why they have started their economic relations towards other parts of the world. The European Commission chairperson told that we are having free trade agreement with India. Already Mercosur countries, they have a free trade agreement. So they economically they are also shifting from United States to other parts of the world. So Europeans are well aware, they have their vision, and it's not unusual while having bickering in a particular organization over a period of time. When some parts of that alliance grows up, they have their own independence and autonomy, and they try to be free. So the Europeans now want to be free, and even United States realized it, that the European Union may be a big challenge someday, and that is why now long-term US focus is to dismantle the European Union, and that is why United States and the Trump administration is encouraging the national sovereignty and the right-wing forces in European countries not to cooperate with the European Union. So they are very critical of the European Union. So US has a grand vision to think about the long term, whether there can be some challenge in future to the US hegemony and supremacy. So it's a part of that, and that is why European countries also have their vision, and the Americans have their own vision, and there is a clash of vision of both the parties. So it's a spontaneous thing that what's happening between the European countries and the United States is not unusual, and that is why they are hedging alliance outside. Even Canada is hedging alliance with China outside from the US sphere of influence. Similarly, Mexico is also moving toward that direction. So in the search of US hegemony, I think US is getting isolation in isolation. But I think right at the moment, US is not realizing that sort of things, that US is getting isolation. Still, US is asserting through the coercive diplomacy, and that coercive diplomacy is the counterproductive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. More breaking news, in fact, also coming in now.